Hello once again, I'm Kevin Turner from Real Estate Talk. Interest-only borrowing for investors. Well, is it good? Is it bad? Let's get the facts for you and you can make up your own mind then. Joining me now to discuss this, Andrew Myrams from Intuitive Finance. Andrew, welcome to the broadcast and thanks for your time.
My pleasure, Kevin. Thanks. Good to see you.
I guess as investors, we've got a lot of options, whether we should be looking at interest only. I guess there are times when it is beneficial for an investor, or whether it's best to pay down some of that principal and interest at the same time. So maybe if you can just give us the facts, Andrew, how do you see it? What's the good, the bad and the ugly?
Yeah, look, interest-only lending has some very good points. And the first thing is obviously as investors are looking to grow their portfolios, it balances out your cash flow by not having to make that principal reduction. So that's one of the good things. And if you do have a home loan or other personal or non-deductible debt, it obviously allows you to prioritise your debts from the perspective that you should be paying off those bad or the necessary debts and allowing your investment debt to sit there. So that sort of ranks down the order in the priorities, I guess. Obviously, it helps you minimise your cash flow where we've had some good capital growth of recent times, that with the growth going up and now the yields sort of going down based on the growth we've had, it allows not as wide a differential between the actual rent you're earning and then your outgoing. So obviously that's a really key component. You can obviously then, with a variable interest only loan, you can have an offset account sitting against it, which will help you further reduce your repayments. And that's a strategy or a tactic a lot of our first home buyers will get into. If they're going to buy a property that they're going to retain in the future, is they'll put all their savings in their offset account, reduce their outgoings while it sits there. And that can be a really good structure. Obviously then you've got the tax effectiveness. Why would you pay off one debt that you're getting a tax deduction for and not pay off the other that you may not? So there's some of the really good points and why interest-only lending might be recommended in different circumstances.
Yeah, it's easy to see why it is a favoured option for many people, but let's balance that up, Andrew. What are some of the downsides?
Okay, so I think one of the major downsides is people and their lack of discipline with their spending and also getting complacent with those lower repayments. They don't last forever. Generally, an interest-only term will be somewhere between 3 to 5 years. Sort of 5 years is generally the norm. And then you can get them out to 10 years. So at the end of that period, you've got the balance of the loan term remaining to have to repay it. And that obviously then expedites the repayment program. So that can put people at jeopardy. And the other thing that with interest only, by not contributing any capital along the way, you're actually going to pay more interest and it's going to be more expensive over the life of the loan.
Wow, so bottom line?
Well, bottom line, then you've got the ugly. So if you sort of get to a stage where you've just been paying interest only and your asset hasn't performed, that's when you can get into positions with negative equity. There's been things with the mining downturns and people buying in at those times and then they've not contributed any capital. That can put a significant impact on their position. And the forcing of them having to make principal reductions at sometimes a shorter term. And at times that can mean that we end up having to have forced sales and things like that. That's when it gets really ugly and it's not a great outcome for clients.
Yeah, a lot of things to consider there, Andrew, and I guess bottom line is always make sure you consult a professional who can walk you through all of that and work out what's best for you. Strongly suggest that you contact Andrew and his team. There's a button on the homepage, and also go and check out Andrew's featured channel as well. There's a lot of really good content in there to help you through the financing maze. Andrew Myrams from Intuitive Finance, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Kevin. My pleasure.